things, I would say don't use a plastic cup, but use kind of an aluminum cup or something because the water comes out pretty hot. But it's not easy for a kid to turn on. But you've got to press, I think, like two things to get the hot water. And we have people who have to have something to drink. And I noticed, I said, we've done everything else, but the water cooler out front. And we're upgrading. They call them, the sophisticated word is lavatories, because we've got some toilet seats that's just too low. I mean, I'm headed toward arthritis because Dr. Flemings have said everything that ache and pain, that's arthritis. And I went in there and looked at the toilet. I knew I wouldn't be able to get up off that thing. So you will see us renovating two of the toilets because they're just too low. So Brother Harold and Deacon Calvin and the team are going to put two. You got to be politically correct now. You can't say handicap, but there are some high sitting seats. So we're going to try to get two of them. I know it's one right over here that's really too low. And I think it's the first one over here that's too low. So we're going to, yours too low too? Yours? Oh, okay. I thought you. Oh, okay. Okay. I mean, yeah, he coming. We supposed to be fellowship, but he talking about toilets. You know, I mean, I'm trying to stop somebody before they get stuck. Like Deacon Calvin said, he had somebody at work that was stuck on the toilet for like 15 minutes. Okay, all right. And because the building is old. The building is old. And so there are things that we have to keep up. We had a water fountain that nobody used, so now we got cups so you can get water, touchless water. Instead of pumping soap in the restroom, now you can just stick your hand under it, and instead of one roll of I'm from the country, so instead of one, we say toilet paper, instead of one roll of tissue paper, now you got four, so you stand a chance of having some tissue paper in the restroom. So, I mean, I'm serious. This is what your money is paying for. So we need, we're just trying to get some more things, upgraded. We did the outside, the inside, and so we did the seats and the carpet. So we've done a lot this year for this to be the 10th with a small congregation. So I just wanted to let you all know we're going to correct those two laboratories. And I told the deacons, I said, well, what y'all doing? Y'all need to look around. I mean, because another 5 years, I wouldn't be able to sit on that one toilet in there because they just low. I know we ain't live. I hope we ain't anyway. But if we are, then yeah, we talking about toilet seats. And I said, look at the toilet seat. This toilet seat older than half our membership. We got to get a better toilet seat.
I had said something to Deacon about the yellow steps.
Mm-hmm.
And the outside.
Well, they were supposed to do that in the spring, and they didn't. They were drinking whiskey and having communion. And so they didn't get that done, but they said they're going to get it done next spring. So you live until then and make sure that they get that done, because that was the first thing. They said, oh, we put it off on the winter, the glue won't stick and all that. I said, now this is the first assignment for the spring. Step steel toe up. So, they're going to get better. They're going to get better. Jesus, pray for them. Okay. All right. Confidence or will, either one, as long as we get the job done. We had a really wonderful college day last Sunday. It was very, very successful. Everybody pitched in and worked as a team. So we thank God for that. And then if you all are ready to go live, because what I have is very short, 2 scriptures, if you would, please. Proverbs 11:1 and Psalm 67 and stanza 6. Those are going to be our scriptures. And I'm just going to talk to you for maybe 10 minutes and let us have ice cream and cake and fellowship. Don't want you to forget our first month. We had, really, College Day was really, really good. And today is Team Jersey. So mine is the Old Negro League. I hate that league ever dissolved, and studying it and learning from it. And so we still have the 3 for 3 campaign. Those who have contributed, great. But for those who are joining us, we still have that campaign will run until the end of the year. It is supporting the Adopt a School program, the food bank that we have here in Greenwood. And we took the food out of the sanctuary, and it is in Building C. So if you have something to contribute, just give it to the Urshers. They'll take it. And then we'll wait till after the first Sunday, and we will get everything sent over. You mentioned to me that we were one of the few that gives on a consistent basis, and then our numbers increase outside of the major grocery chains and things like that to contribute. So I asked them, I said two things that should happen. One, the church should receive a letter, and two, they should have it written up in the index journal to give it. Yes, ma'am. Okay. Okay. Because there is a tremendous sacrifice that the people have made, and also the church, especially being, as some people would say, a developing ministry. So, and then next Sunday is Harvest Sunday. And so please bring someone with you. And like I say, 3 for 3. And I think the other one, I can't remember what it is. I don't have it, but it's just 3 for 3. Adopt a School, Food Bank, and Shoes for Africa. We do have the contact for that. And so we will work on that as well. So 100% of those donations do go to that. So this morning, I just want to talk to you in brief before we have Ugly Cake Day. I think that's what they call it. Proverbs 11:1. Want to just share with you, we did a little bit this morning on the winter series, Purpose Over Me, Purpose Over a Person, and Purpose over people. And so what I'd like to share with you briefly as we began to go into the series, we kind of got here because there was various questions from the audience and from the members. And I made a statement that said, if you can answer the challenge of your tests through your feelings and emotions, then it's not a test of change. We fail to understand that God has purpose in each and every one of our developments. So this morning in brief, I want you, if you're going to write, God has purpose for me, my family, my life. And much of our conflict is not necessarily with the enemy as it is within ourselves. I heard Steve Harvey, he has a thing called brain drop, and he shared this. He said, millennials, Generation Z, I believe, comes to him and say, I want to be a millionaire. I want to be a millionaire. I want to make a million. I want to make a million. And he says, most people get stuck on the process. They get stuck on 12 years, 16 years, 14 years of school. They say, I don't want to do that, but I want that kind of result. And so when we started talking about, the question came from the audience, well, what about faking it till you make it? Here's the problem with faking it till you're making it. We are made, and I'm so happy to have educators, physicians, ministers around me to help me. If I'm not wrong, are we not made from the earth? So the question becomes, how can God produce something that does not identify with its identity? And so Steve Harvey summed it up by saying, whatever your God-given gift is, that's number one. If you don't understand yourself, you don't know what your gift is, then no one else in the world does. I just want to put a little seasoning to you this morning. God has purpose, but God's purpose may not be your focus. And God's purpose is beyond the four walls of the church. God has purpose for your life. Most of us have a problem with God developing us. It's like a potter and clay. You have a problem when God is molding you. You see it as a problem. You don't see it as a stage of your development. God gives each and every one of us pit stops in our lives. There's no racer that runs or does 100 laps around a racetrack without not having to make a pit stop. And most of the pit stops we make are pit stops in our feelings and emotions. And God has given you something called intellect, intelligence, and cognitive ability to focus. And I might be wrong, but is it not that those things have to be developed? There is no development to react in our feelings and emotions. So this is why Proverbs 11:1 says, a false balance is an abomination unto God. God just don't want you spiritual. God wants you successful. God wants you educated. One of the challenges we have is that we're so emotional, but we're not substance settled. We don't look for substance. Many people don't like science. Science is absolute, like math. Math is absolute. And so God has a purpose for us. And what shocked me is I had just had a conversation on Tuesday, and I said, if your gift is baking pies, and Steve Harvey said on his thing, Brain Drop, I Want to Be a Millionaire, he said that your gift may be cutting grass. He said he has a childhood friend who makes $4 million a year cutting grass. See, if we don't value authentication, this is what a pit stop is. A pit stop is to reframe, rework, restructure, reorganize, re-examine, redirect, reevaluate where you are and what you're going to need to complete the race. And so when God starts to work on us in life, we have issues when God takes some of the things that don't function and can't go where we're going. When he starts to move those things, we have this commonality. I'm sad, I'm empty, and I'm lonely. And that is your pit stop in life. You are not sad, you're not lonely, and you're not empty. That is your pit stop to rearrange and reorganize and rethink and re-strategize so when you come back on the track of life, you're able to go further than what you did before. If not, it's a form of insanity. You keep trying to turn left when you're in a right-hand lane. Does this make sense? So I'm going to give you this, and I'm going to let you go, because I'm not going to beat on people talking about, give me 5 more minutes. I'm going to give you this. I want you to real quick turn to Psalm 67:6. And I heard this being read this morning, and the revelation came from it, and someone had given me some notes. And so I talked about this morning, when you have that, and I like for us to read it together. As I talked about this morning is finding the mirror. See, you see you in the mirror. You don't see God's purpose in your life. You see your failures, you see your pain, we see our brokenness, we see our mountain, but we don't see our deliverer. You're going to have to see farther than your skin and your texture and your failures and your present situation. In order to meet your future, you have to let go of your past. In order to prepare your future, you have to be able to handle the weight of your present. Because for some of us, God has us on the pit stop. We're in the pit stop right now. Even some of the great people around us said, you know what? I quit school. I failed this. But somehow that was a pit stop in my life. And once I reevaluated my life, and I saw myself differently, That's a part of seeing yourself in the mirror. You are not born to be negative. You are not born to be a failure. There is things that can help you naturally and spiritually for you to accomplish. You are just not a product of two human beings that came together. There's a message in you that God needs to get out to the world. Is that we have to grow spiritually and connect more to God. We don't have enough devotional time. We have a lot of, one of the first things, and I'll give you this, in developing, we have a lot of me shopping, me getting, me attention, me got this, me, and there's no room for God. Have you ever asked God, what are your needs, God? Whose life can I touch today with a word from you? Whose life can I be an example for you? Because everyone in here pretty much has more than they've ever had in their life. Most people are making more money than they've ever had in their life. Not all, but some. But when have you asked God, am I on the right path? What can I do to get your word to people? How can my light shine? Because the enemy tells us God doesn't have a need. God created each and every one of us with a purpose in us. Psalm 67, do you have it? Can you read it, please? Now hold on. Are we not made from the earth? Because I was studying last night about novas, and I know this is going to cause you to reach back, about how plasma and minerals and magnesium and are we made of that? And they say we should eat from the earth, but we eat the meat, right? We don't want no beans and no vegetables, and you know. And see here can I make it plain real quick? Can I have? I'm 11:45. I'm done one way or the other. We have too many synthetic things in our lives. The physician can tell us that. The educator can tell us that. You may be working a job, but that job don't have a future. And so for the earth, which we are made of. Now, preacher, I can feel the preacher now, but I got to hold the mule. Okay, we are made from the earth, so how can God bless something that does not identify with its creator? We are strung out on synthetic stuff, artificial intelligence. We are strung out on hybrids. Broccoli, they say, wasn't in the Garden of Eden. Is broccoli not a hybrid food? Potatoes are a hybrid food. A lot of the things that's causing issues in our bodies were not in the Garden of Eden. And so here it says, then shall the earth yield what? If we are made from the earth and we are feeling as though we are left out and not a part, how can God bless what's not authentic with him? Because he commanded the earth to whatever is planted in it, for it to what? Reproduce. Our lives should be about productivity, not satisfaction. Let's put the word back up real quick because we got about 2 minutes. Then shall the earth yield. Since we go into 2022, I want us to quit thinking and shift from poverty, need, desperation. It's hard. We've been in a pandemic. We need to pray for a yield. Then shall the earth, and if the earth blesses you, because what happens is people take other people's stuff. Y'all in? So you think they have it, but they're not the originators of it. Come on. When the last time you had fruit or watermelon or a grape that had a seed in it? Come on. Come on, people who've had to deal with cancer, they start telling you you need to eat, what is the word they call it? What type of food is it? Antioxidant and things that are not sprayed with pesticide. What do they call it? There's a organic. Because if your body doesn't have the antioxidants to fight off these radicals, am I right, physician? Then those radicals will take over your body. If we don't understand that we're made from the earth and value what you see in that mirror, honey, value yourself. Man, value yourself. God made you. It is not where you are. Now it's where you're going. And if you lose your authentication, then you'll become a hybrid in somebody else's garden. Because you got to get over the things in the mirror. So it says, and then shall the earth yield her what? So every person that's a believer in God needs to become authentic and not try to fake it, because the radicals, if we don't have enough antioxidants in our body to fight off these radicals, now we have these diseases that can't be cured, and they just give you medication to manage it. Am I correct? But if we become authentic and God, come on, listen to what it says. It says, and who? Why are you trying to get the acceptance of people when you need to get the revelation from God? Why are you trying to be in the number and having status when you need the revelation of God? Why are you trying to fit in when you need the authentication of God? Because when you have it, it says, and God, what?
Even our own God shall bless us.
So what? So who should believe in God and have a poor mouth? Who should believe in God? And God is saying the earth. I gave you the earth to give you a yield. I gave you the earth to give you what you, if you work it, it will give you something back. The problem is too many people are coming in your yard, and too many people are coming in your surrounding, and they're dropping droplets that are not authentic to your destination in God. God bless you. I'll see you soon. Now, as the old church would say, let us stand